What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down what's going on with the overall market and provide you guys with a very important warning for tomorrow. I'm also going to give you guys an intraday update on how the market's looking and break down some very important levels. But before I break down all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. So anyways, let's talk about what's going on with the markets thus far. Looking at SPY on the 1 hour time frame, we can see that we had this flag that was forming. We actually got a breakdown, and we saw this nice drop, which could have been a very, very good short entry. Now, the short entry would have been like up here off these wicks, off these nice rejections, and this was once again another good opportunity. We saw liquidity being grabbed right above where we like opened from this wick. So this is like exactly where you'd want to be shorting. Even like from this break, you could have technically done it, but it wouldn't have been as ideal. But anyways, the market did come down. We're technically downtrending on SPY, making lower highs and lower lows as of right now. But the question is, what's happening with tomorrow? Why do I have a warning for you guys? And what are some important levels to watch for? So I want to just mention that tomorrow, 1 hour before the market opens, before the market ends up opening, we have PCE data coming out. This is very important for the inflationary projections of the Fed. We're expecting PCE year over year to be around 2.9%. That's what PCE year over year is expected to be. And core PCE is expected to be around 3.4% or even below that. So we're expecting a slight decrease in PCE again, which is what the Fed wants. So we'll see what this causes. But so far, the inflationary numbers have been quite decent. CPI was as expected. So there's a good chance that PCE may be as expected as well. If that ends up being the case, we could see SPY actually try to bounce tomorrow, but I don't know for sure. So just be very careful. Now, I just want to warn you all that the market's going to gap up or gap down. Okay, it could go either way, but there's a good chance it might gap up again and then just like drop later. But the thing is, we don't truly know what's going to happen. I don't know if we're going to gap up or gap down. It depends on the numbers. So if you want to hold overnight, it's going to be kind of risky. If you're holding like very short-term options, if you're holding leaps, if you're holding any other sort of long position, it could be kind of risky. So I want to warn you all to be very, very careful. All right. So if you want to hold through the PC report overnight, it's your choice. If you don't want to do it, you only have an hour and a half left at the time I'm recording this, 1.5 hours left until the market closes to exit your positions. I just want to give you guys that warning. So what's going on with SPY? I just want to mention that we're kind of like hovering around the 470 support. That's actually significantly lower compared to where we were yesterday at that 475 area. So we're still quite a bit lower, but we're going to be watching to see if PC could help this thing kind of like gap up and retest 472, or if we end up gapping down, coming down to 468. Now, in my opinion, I can't really predict what's going to happen with 100% certainty, but there's a good chance we might kind of like gap up and end up dropping. There's a very good chance that that might happen. Then we might just see lots of sideways price action. That's what I think is very probable, but I don't know for sure, and that's why I'm warning you all to be very careful. We're at 470, we're kind of range trading around this 470 range. We have some resistance around this 471.5 area. Then we have 472 as resistance. 472.5 has some minor resistance, but it's not that significant. For support, we're going to be watching 470. If we lose that, there's some support in this 469 zone, but the real significant support historically is at 468 to 467. So make sure you watch these levels. As of right now, it looks like SPY is just kind of like shuffling, not really doing a whole lot. It might continue to do so as time goes on. What about for the QQQ? Just like SPY, it's going to gap up or gap down tomorrow depending on PCE. There's a good chance PCE is going to be decent since CPI was decent. So we could see a little gap up tomorrow before the market continues lower, possibly. Not a guarantee. And if you want to hold overnight, your choice. If not, you only have an hour and a half left until market close to exit your positions. Otherwise, you're going to be holding through the big report. So with the QQQ, I just want to mention that we're currently at this 406 area. We're going to be watching some resistance right here at 406.25. And above that, we have 407. Then we have 408, which is kind of funny since it's like every dollar, and that is technically true. We have 405.7 as the key support. So one of the things I warned you guys about is if we lost this support, expect a bigger drop towards 404. That's exactly what happened. See the yellow support, we broke this, we came down, but we bounced back up, and we're trying to hold above it now. So it is showing a little bit of life, but we'll see what PCE brings and what happens tomorrow. Now, also, guys, don't forget that for tomorrow, okay, it's also going to be the last Friday until Christmas weekend. So sometimes we might see some end of the day selling, some profit taking. So just be a little careful as well. I'll talk more about that tomorrow. or later on today. For the QQQ, watch support at 405.7. If that breaks, we're going to be coming back down towards 404, the 404 zone. So just be very, very careful. We'll be watching to see how this moves, at least from here on out. On Nvidia stock, okay, Nvidia, in my opinion, is looking very, very interesting. We're just barely at this 486 area. We're just barely holding up. So watch 485 as support. If we break 485, you're going to be looking for another push to the downside to fill this gap. We came close. We didn't completely get there. But we could get very close to this 482 area. Near 485, we came down and bounced right back up. So it's still trying to hold around this range. So watch this range and watch resistance at 488 as tight resistance. There's some resistance around 486.8, but it's kind of minor. So watch it for now. It's just basically range bound, not really doing a whole lot. Tomorrow it's going to likely gap up or gap down, depending on PCE. So just be very careful with Nvidia. I just wanted to warn you about that. That's your choice if you want to hold overnight or not. What about for Tesla? How is Tesla stock looking, in my opinion? The answer is it's looking quite decent. It's been respecting this uptrend for now, but we're also forming a bear flag. So just be very careful and see if Tesla ends up breaking again below 250. If we get a break like that, it could turn a bit bearish. As of right now, it hasn't happened. It's just respecting these trend lines. So I assume it's going to continue to do so, especially going into tomorrow. So it might just continue to respect this flag, but we'll be watching to see if something changes. We'll also watch and see how the PCE report ends up affecting Tesla. Do we gap up back into our yellow, above our yellow resistance? Or do we end up getting a big kind of pop and then drop and we just see the bear flag play out? So we'll be watching to see what PCE causes. I personally am not a fortune teller. I don't know what's going to happen exactly. So we just have to wait and see what the data shows us. And we'll see how Tesla reacts to this. We'll be very, very patient, guys. So I just want to note that from an intraday basis, Tesla is very sideways right now, not really doing a whole lot. Kind of boring day, if anything. We have resistance at 254 as tight resistance, and then we have support at around 252-ish, like around that range. There's not really a whole lot going on from here. We're kind of just going back and forth and back and forth. But we're going to be watching this very, very carefully. I think it's very important for us to look and see how it goes. Could Tesla uptrend more? The answer is yes. It still could. It still is technically uptrending slowly. It's still range bound, but I just believe that it might remain in this range for an extended period of time, and we'll have to see what other pieces of data affect it. All right, so we'll be watching that for now. I don't think a whole lot is going to be happening until close, but we'll just be patient and we'll see how it goes. Finally, we had a very beautiful, beautiful short setup on Aapl that ended up playing out nicely, but the move is already complete technically. So if you guys look at this, we had this nice liquidity grab at 197 once it rejected. That was a really, really good opportunity that they were grabbing liquidity to start shorting your position. This is where they tried to break this resistance. It actually came just barely above 197. You guys could see they were grabbing liquidity and they smacked it right back down. Then it ended up breaking below our support rate over here. And I warned you all that if we lose this, we have 195.5 and that's it. This thing is going to be sinking down to the 194s. That's what ended up happening. But instead, we actually went a little bit lower. We went to 193.5, which is the next support I had drawn out over here. This is I kept this exactly the same. This is exactly what happened. So you guys could see how this has been playing out. So it's very significant and very important. Now, when it comes to Aapl, I just want to mention that we're basically going to be watching resistance at 194.4 to 194.5. Then we also have 195 above that. And then for support, watch 193.5. And then below that, we have 192.5 as the next key level. As of right now, it's just trying to hold up. So watch and see how it holds up for the time being. And we're just going to be very, very patient with this move. For now, just to be clear, guys, Aapl is just barely holding up. We're going to be very patient with it, at least for the time being. And we'll see how it ends up moving. In my opinion, it's just going to kind of be stuck in this range, not really do a whole lot, at least for the rest of the day. But then going into tomorrow, it could easily gap up just a little bit. And we'll see if it's kind of like a gap and go, or if it just kind of gaps up and then it just drops near the end of the day because of some profit taking for the holidays. We'll see if it's like a gap up and drop. I'll talk more about that later. But just know, this is your last chance, guys. Watch these resistance levels and do what you have to do. Aapl might just be kind of stuck in this range, not really do a whole lot for the rest of the day, but there might be a big move overnight once we get the PCE data. So I just wanted to warn you about that. Do what you have to do, guys. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you, and peace out.